Hi, this is State Representative Seth Grove, and welcome to another edition of Legislative Report. We have an action-packed episode this month. Here we are at the wonderful and very active Dover Fire Department, Rescue 9-1. And with me is Deputy Chief Brian Woodmeyer. Brian,
Yes.
Thanks so much for joining me.
No problem, thank you.
So, you have a very, very active fire department here,
Yes.
and we'll get into a couple of reasons why. And I think it's unique and probably something that other departments are building on. But can you kind of start off with kind of the history of Dover Fire Department and what you guys have been up to lately?
Yes, we started out in 1945. We were chartered as the Dover Township Fire Department in 1970. We occupied this building since 1991, and we are still current to this day, doing active fire service for all of Dover Township.
Yeah, you guys do an excellent job. Live not too far here from the department, and sirens go on a lot, so you guys
Yes.
are very busy. What's your average call volume?
We're in anywhere from the 600 to 700 call range per year.
Wow.
Yeah, we're pretty active. It averages out to a little over 2 calls per day.
How does that compare to maybe other departments?
We're actually on the little busier side for York County from other departments. There are departments that are busier than us. I'd say we're on the higher end of call volume, though.
They're traditionally over towards 83 because they have to deal with the 83 interchange, like Manchester Township, maybe
the
Spring Garden.
immediate metro to the city departments.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you guys have a unique situation where you have live-ins
Yes.
here in Dover. Can you kind of explain what that is and how it's been effective?
The live-ins have started actually back in probably around the 70s to 80s range. They had a home next to the old department. When they built this new station, they built dormitories where they allow firefighters rent-free to live at the fire station in exchange for their volunteer time. They're expected to hold full-time jobs or be a full-time college student, and they respond to emergency calls anytime that they're here, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
Yeah.
And that allows us to have an immediate response when there's a call, rather than a regular department, a regular volunteer department would have to have their volunteers come from home to the fire station. Our volunteers primarily are here, and we respond immediately.
And then your other volunteers will meet you.
Yeah, then-
or go in a second.
Yeah, any extra volunteers that come from home then would come and bring out a second truck to the fire.
How critical? What's the time frame, and how critical is it for fire departments to respond to a fire?
It's seconds count, and we make up our time in the station and leaving the station. Responding emergency only saves you anywhere from 30 to 45 seconds.
Yeah.
So the time that it takes you to get out and get responding to the call is where you're going to make the time up, and it can be life or death between a matter of 30 seconds to 45 seconds.
And you guys have everything prepped. Trucks are gassed.
Yes.
Equipment is ready to just throw on, and you're out the door.
Yeah, vehicles are not allowed to be below 3/4, and we have all kinds of policies in place that set it up that we are always on the ready.
Speaking of equipment, we got some beautiful piece of equipment. Boys with toys, I usually say.
Yes.
Fire departments have immaculate equipment, well maintained, pretty expensive too, but for a reason, it saves lives and protects a lot of property. So we say we check out some equipment.
Come on over.
Yeah.
This piece that we're standing in front of is Rescue 9. This is primarily a rescue vehicle. It responds on anything from a vehicle leaking fluids on up to a building collapse or somebody stuck in a well somewhere. And the crews that ride it are trained to handle anything from a general cleanup on up to a life and death situation.
How much training do your volunteers have to go through?
They start off with a minimum of 160 hours, and then it continues until they retire.
Okay, and you can specialize in different areas or
Yes.
get more training in urban search and rescue, rescuing down fire department or firefighters in the building. That's a separate training area.
Yes, we actually specialize in RIT training, which is rescuing firefighters. It's called a rapid intervention team. We'll respond out and stand by at a fire in case there is a firefighter down situation. We'll go in and pull the firefighter out of the emergency and get them to a safe area.
That's great. How many departments have that?
There's about 5 out of the 60 plus departments in York County that are trained to that level and respond for those types of calls.
Wow. Okay. Let's go check out the next beautiful beast.
the piece that we're standing in front of now is engine 9-1 is its unit designation. This piece is what people consider a fire truck. This responds out for fires. It has a, different than the rescue, this actually has a pump, water, and hose on it. It's capable of carrying 750 gallons of water to the call, as well as then from the call pumping 2,000 gallons per minute to extinguish pretty much any type of blaze that we would come across.
And when, obviously when people call 911, the dispatchers will notify you of what emergency you're looking at ahead of time, so you know which piece of equipment to take.
Exactly. We actually have predetermined, we have a list of emergencies, and 911 will dispatch us to them, and it'll automatically tell us what we're to take to it. Not just so much for us, but the people that are, the other fire departments that are coming to assist us, they know what we're expecting them to bring, because every fire department has different types of vehicles for their specialties.
Okay. And someone walking in off the street that says, you know, this is awesome, we're landing the program, we're going to see some awesome training that you guys do. What does someone have to do if they want to come in and volunteer? Because obviously every department's looking for volunteers.
They just want to find their local fire department, and they can contact a state representative or somebody in their area, local official, and ask them, where is my closest fire department to where I live? And they'll give them information as far as what department to contact. They fill out an application just like a job, and they will get a background check, and they'll get voted into the department, and then from there they'll get assigned to a training officer, and he'll sign them up for any type of training that they would like to do. We leave it up to the individual firefighter as far as what pathway they want to take, if they want to become a rescue specialist or if they want to just become a plain old fireman that puts out fires. We can't really dictate so much as to what they do, because they are volunteer. We can tell them, in order to respond to those types of emergencies, this is what you need to have. But if somebody doesn't want to put out fires and they just want to do vehicle extrication, we do allow that.
And that's pretty easy. There's classes. I know there's a York County Fire School. Do you host them here since you have your own a training area?
Yes, we do host our own classes here as well. They're through usually Harrisburg Area Community College. They're the ones that actually give us the certificates for it, and we invite other departments to share our training tower as well, which you'll see with the training we have. And as we also travel to the York County Fire School, or even up to Harrisburg. They have their own burn building as well.
Yeah, Harrisburg Area Community College up there has this complete city for the most part.
Yeah, they have a very good setup. Yes, so that's why we'll travel the extra distance sometime, just to get some variety, so you're not training on the same building every time, because the homes are going to vary. You're never going to be to the same home twice likely.
Now, if they're looking at a house demo somewhere in York County, can do sometimes people allow you to practice on those homes and stuff?
They do allow us to practice. We've kind of gotten better with environmental protection. DEP kind of frowns upon burning those homes anymore, just due to the chemicals and things that are in homes nowadays. So a lot of times we'll just do training, practice taking hoses through the homes, or bringing down firemen out of it, or we'll have them go through the floor, simulate if they fell through a floor, and we'll practice bringing them back up through the floor and in a safer environment. Yeah,
excellent. So we're going to, next piece of machinery we're going to, is unique, kind of landed on Dover's lap, but it's unique for this area and is, I think, really cool to have.
Yes. Yeah, the piece of equipment here is a Peterbilt box truck, and it's part of the Pennsylvania Urban Search and Rescue Team. It was provided with Pennsylvania tax dollars, and it basically was come about after September 11th. They went to fire departments and asked what kind of unmet needs they have in case there, God forbid, would ever be another September 11th, what they would need in order to perform rescues like you saw that day. And that's kind of how this team came about, and Harrisburg was unable to fulfill it financially due to, I mean, they're called upon for a lot of things, and so we were able to take it over, and we now house it and maintain it here in Dover Township.
Yep, and you have to be specialized, so that's extra training to be part of the Urban Search and Rescue Squad.
Yeah, there's hundreds of hours on top of your normal everyday training that would be performed in order to be able to be on this team.
Yeah, how many like kind of yearly training hours do you need to maintain certifications and stuff?
We do a once a month drill to just stay on top of our skills, and then they also have, depending on what rescue specialized you're in, there's different yearly requirements on training as far as that. Then, like I said, it kind of varies depending on what you have, but it's probably about 30 to 40 hours a year.
Yeah. Speaking of training, we just saw awesome assault on your practice building. Can you kind of walk us through what we're going to see here?
Yeah, we basically simulated a actual fire emergency as well as we could with our non-burnable tower. We had the crews gear up in their normal turnout gear, and they responded out to a hydrant that we have on the property. You'll see the yellow hose. That's what we call supply line, and that takes the water from the fire hydrant and gives it to the fire engine. So we have a continuous supply of water and don't run out of water. Like I said earlier, we have 750 gallons, but that doesn't last too long when you're flowing anywhere from 150 to 300 gallons per minute. So then the crews, you saw them get off, they went everywhere to gather tools off of the fire truck. Each person, depending where they're sitting at, gets an assignment from the officer riding up front, and they gather their tools that they're given, that they need for their assignment. And you saw them pull a hose off. That's what's called an attack line. They advance that in, they flake it out in the front yard strategically, so that way it's kink-free and ready to just advance straight into the building. You also noticed that there was two guys off to the side of the building. They extended a ladder. What they're performing there is called vent enter search. It's a newer technique where two firefighters go above the fire floor and they search for any life, and then they'll either go up or go down depending on the situation, and search for life. In the drill, they happened to find a dummy that we had placed in the building, and they brought it out from the first floor out through the door and across the yard to safety. Simultaneously, while the crew was inside with their attack line, advancing it up to the third floor, where eventually you saw a hose stream spraying out into the drainage pond.
Yeah, it was very impressive. Remind me, I love military history and stuff. Remind me of a Special Forces operations attack I mean, just
that's actually
great training, and it's that repetitive training where you know what you're doing. Everybody has a task, and you complete the mission.
Yeah, we actually do a lot of training, and the military has done studies on the fire department and vice versa to get different tactics. How did you do this? How did you do that? And we kind of work together and determine what we're going to do next.
Yeah, that's amazing. And most of the people we saw there they're all live-ins, correct?
Yes.
And a lot of them are trained professional firefighters down in the Maryland area. Obviously, York's close to there, so we have a right pool of prospects for our departments.
Good thing
here.
we have Interstate 83. Yeah, that allows us to have firefighters that, if they weren't pre-trained, they get their training from Maryland and bring it back here and use it in Pennsylvania to volunteer for their hometowns.
Yeah, and that allows kind of cross-training too between states, and obviously they have a professionalized department, so they probably have maybe more rigorous training standards and stuff as well.
Exactly, yeah, because you can mandate a lot more what you do when they're a paid employee versus a volunteer. Not that the volunteers aren't held to a high standard, but there's a lot more rigor in a career department.
Very exciting. So let's check out some other fun, neat little indoor training techniques you use too.
Absolutely. We'll move on to that.
Okay. So we're going to check out a couple other drills that you guys can train with, obviously indoors if there's inclement weather, and maybe just for some stress relief.
Yes, exactly. Right here beside us, we have a forcible entry simulator. It does just that. It lets us simulate forcing entry into a home. Not every home we go to for an emergency is going to be unlocked and front door be hanging open and saying, come on in. So we may have to force our way in, whether it be for a medical emergency where somebody fell down, or their home might be on fire and they're trapped inside. We have to get in. So Joey Kohler here, who's one of our live-ins and drivers, and Lieutenant Chris Wirtz will demonstrate how they would force entry into a home. So whenever you guys are ready. And it's just that easy. As you saw there at the end, he kind of closed the door back shut. what he'll do there is he'll close the door back up, and that's to keep a rush of air from entering into the home. If you're going in for a fire scenario, you want to force entry while the guys are masking up, but you don't want to let the door wide open and allow continuous flow of air to get in and feed the fire and make it larger than it already is.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. How often do you guys have to do that? Normally people are home.
Normally people are home and they run in, and unfortunately they leave the door hanging wide open, and then that just fuels the fire and makes our jobs even harder or more dangerous because the fire is in a advanced growth stage at that point. But our guys they train all the time. Like you said, it's stress relief. They can come out here and pound on the forceful entry simulator. It can be used over and over and over again. It's just little shards of wood that you practice breaking. That simulates breaking a wooden door jamb on a home.
Okay. So is that the hinge you're breaking out, or?
We're actually breaking pieces of wood. The hinge is on that side. The wood is just the to simulate the lock, the locking mechanism that would keep it closed.
Okay. Deadbolt's a little harder?
Deadbolt's a little harder. This actually, with the 2 pieces of wood loaded into it, is actually equal to a metal door jamb.
Okay.
So this is about as hard as it's going to get to force entry, and you saw how easy they were able to get in.
Yeah. You were telling me earlier off camera that most new homes you can actually just break in with a little razor.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the way homes are designed nowadays, they don't have the plywood and heavy timber construction anymore. It's as light and cheap as it can get. Obviously, unfortunately, they don't lower the price of the homes then, but it's very easy to get into homes, and very easy for them to burn quicker now too.
All right, that was pretty cool. The next one we have set up is a sled orchestrating pulling someone to safety.
Yes, this is what's referred to as a Stokes basket. This is where a firefighter would take this up if there's a person down over an embankment, whether it be from an accident or it could even be a sledding accident or something, and we need some extra assistance getting it up the hill. Lieutenant Knupp here has a system rigged up. I'll let him explain that and let you know how it all works, and he'll do a little demonstration on how, with these ropes and pulleys, he can actually take care of pulling a person up an embankment himself.
So I'm still trying to set part of it up, but like he was saying, we use this as a way to assist us because of mechanical advantage, basically. This is a 4-to-1 system, which means that basically I can use 1/4 of the effort to pull that load down there. So if it's 100 pounds, really I only have to exert 25 pounds of force to pull all that. So obviously that's a great advantage to us, if we have to lift things, heavy loads or long distances. The only problem is, because it's also 4-to-1, for every 4 feet of rope I pull, it only pulls that 1 foot. So unfortunately sometimes you need a whole lot of rope. Get this set up here. So what we have up here is our anchor. What we would use for that is some kind of very structurally sound object that's not going to move anywhere. We like to call it what's a bomb-proof anchor. So the theory is if a bomb would go off, I mean not literally, but it's not something that's going to give way. So this is what we're going to use to haul firefighter puller there. And I can myself with one hand just pull it. You can see how easy it is for him to do it all. With that, we also have it set up as a safety that if we were going over a hill, this little prusik here that's attached to the rope is set so if for whatever reason this rope slips, breaks, something wrong happens, and gravity starts pulling it back. It's probably going to be a little hard here to have to try to catch on that. It's kind of hard to do on a flat surface because we really need a lot of weight and gravity to make it work. But that cord will keep all this weight from going. So if we do happen to slip, whatever we have pulling so far isn't going to allow him to slide back down or lose control or whatever have you. That's pretty much how this works. We have this so it's set up already in a bag so we can deploy it very quickly. It's something that we can use for a multitude of things, for doing specialized rescues, just hauling things down steep embankments. So we have a lot of tools at our disposal. That's pretty much this.
And it takes a lot of training and extra extra initiative from a firefighter to get himself to a level where he understands not only how that all works, but he's able to, at 2 o'clock in the morning, when he gets woken up out of bed by the bells, within 2 minutes he's assembling something like this. And if you do something wrong, it could have drastic effects. So you want to make sure you're on top of your game, and that's why we constantly are training and training and training. We just drill it into these guys that training is of the utmost importance, and it doesn't take too much to get them to want to train. I'll come out here at 3 o'clock in the morning, and somebody who can't sleep is out here practicing ropes and knots or something. It's not something you use all the time. They call it a low frequency, high risk type event. So, and it is just that. We don't get many rope rescues, so there's the low frequency, but it's very high risk because if you mess something up, it could have deadly effects.
Do you get to practice rappelling too? You have rappelling
Yes.
lines for your building out there?
Yeah, with our training tower on site, we're able to practice rappelling off all 5 stories down to the ground, and the guys regularly do that. We actually have a training coming up here in a couple days for guys specifically be able to practice rappelling.
Very good. All right, I'll tell you what, we've seen training, we saw your awesome fire apparatus. You want to check go on a little tour and see the living quarters and where you guys kind of hang out between calls?
Absolutely.
So here we are, kind of break room, kitchen area, kind of go over how you kind of got this stuff paid for and what it's used for.
Yeah, like you said, this is we refer to it as our lounge and kitchen area. The firefighters come in here to take a break. We actually do perform some training in here. We're able to hook up a computer to the TV and we're able to sit back and kind of relax and look at videos of fires and go over different training tactics on it, as well as watch TV.
Yeah.
And then this is the traditional firehouse kitchen where everybody kind of gathers and we get together and cook meals and kind of have some fellowship together, and we can sit down like a family and eat. We performed this renovation here. The building is a little over 20 years old. We performed this renovation about 2 years ago, and it was all paid for by donation. No tax dollars were used, and we were able to keep the cost down with donations from companies.
Yeah.
When we approached Lowe's to do the project, we were able to, without even asking, they found out that it was for a volunteer fire department, and they started upgrading us to better products for a cheaper price. Like if you see the granite countertops, the company Eastern Services found out we were doing countertops, and they said, why are they using laminate? And they said, it's due to cost. And they said, well, how about we give them granite for the price of laminate? And so we were able to upgrade to the granite at no extra cost to anybody, as well as craft made with the cabinets. They found out we were doing fire department renovation, and they upgraded us from pressed wood to plywood. KitchenAid gave us some awesome discounts on the appliances, and that's why we were able to afford them and keep it at a low cost for the donations that we received, so we can use them appropriately.
Yeah, it's great. Who's the best cook?
I would say it's actually one of the medics. He makes some good firehouse chili, and we actually get a lot of the live-ins moms will come here and cook for us, and we're all young bachelors that don't know how to cook, so but we're learning. And but yeah, the medic is definitely the best cook, Mike, and we have a lot of good times in here and play board games, and it's just a good place to hang out in between calls. Because we have to always try and be here because you can't schedule fire calls to come in. As happened earlier, some people just walk in. And without us being here, she would have had to wait several minutes by herself until an ambulance got here rather than immediately getting care.
That's great. Let's go check out your live-in dorms and maybe discuss some issues you're having with the state and trying to refurbish.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
We'll move in there.
Here we are in the living quarters. Obviously, it's kind of looks like college room dorm times 20,000.
Yes.
Not a lot of privacy. Can you kind of go over how this kind of evolved? How the live-ins have really kind of saved the fire department. What other fire departments are struggling with?
Yes. Yeah. Obviously, it's very tight quarters in here, and that was kind of a decision the live-ins made actually just a few weeks ago to downsize from individual rooms into having your bed right next to somebody else in order to allow more live-ins to be here. And how that evolved into that was just more and more interest into the live-in program and coming in and recruitment, and we got to a point where we were out of beds and out of rooms, and this was our only option at this point. We're working on some future options, but we've kind of run into some problems and little things that we'd like to work on and change to try and get some funding.
Yeah.
It all comes down to the dollar, and with the live-in program, we're responding immediately, kind of similar to a career fire department, and we staff similar to a career fire department. However, as live-ins, we're volunteers, and our fire budgets are probably a fraction of the cost. Just to throw a number out there, if we're with being a volunteer, we may only cost about $500,000 a year, compared to a career department might be $3.5 million or more, depending on the area and how many people they have working. And we're just trying to save money where we can and give up personal sacrifices to help out the community.
Yeah. And you actually would like to expand, because you are getting more requests for the live-in program, and
Yes.
obviously you are almost out of room. I'm not sure you can do a third layer of bunk beds in here.
No, not
Yeah.
safely. Yeah. We're actually we're looking into many options, and one of the things I was talking to you about earlier was Pennsylvania offers a 2% loan program where they offer low interest loans to volunteer fire departments, and one of the things that's specifically excluded is dormitory areas, and that was one of the things I was talking to you about. If there's some way we could change that or work towards doing something with that, and just so we could get the funding that we need in order to get some better living facilities, because right now all the live-ins know each other.
Yeah.
You bring a new guy in off the street that wants to live here and be a firefighter, and you show them this room, they're kind of going to be like, I don't know, I think I'll stay home.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a special person to agree, one, to be a firefighter, and two, to want to live here with the facilities that we currently have.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Anything else you want to add?
That's about it. I mean, it's like I said, it's just a constant struggle, and we're always, but we're very selfless people that like to just help out where we can and work with what we have.
Yeah, that's great. I'll tell you what, let's head out to the front and go over maybe some things people can do at home to make your jobs a little easier.
Yes, definitely.
You know, set it up so people coming in to save lives, maybe they don't have to put their lives so much at risk.
Sounds good.
All right. Brian, that was a great tour. Thank you for showing me around and showing me the training and everything. For the viewers at home, what can they do to help you out? What can they do to make your job a lot safer?
A lot of it just comes down to common sense. Try and practice safe things when you're cooking. Don't have excessive paper debris laying around. If you have a grease fire, do not put water on it. Use your baking soda or flour, or just take it off of the heat source if it's safe to do so. But immediately call 911, no matter how small the problem is. It's not embarrassing. We're not going to laugh at you. We would much rather you call us out and the emergency be taken care of before we get there than for you to wait 5 to 10 minutes and then call us. And change your smoke detector batteries. Follow the daylight savings time rules and change your smoke detector batteries when we ask you to. And we're not doing that for ourselves. We're doing that to help you out and
Get everybody out of the house.
Yeah, exactly. Get your meeting places and set ahead of time and use them. Practice with it. If you have a boring day, do it with the kids. Say fire drill time and see what happens. And if you do it repetitively, it'll come second nature. And if you, God forbid you have an emergency like that, it'll be second nature.
Great. Appreciate it. Thank you so much again for your time, your service to the community. You guys do a great job. Obviously, I think viewers will see a high level of comfort of how professional and prepared you guys are. Again, I can't describe the assault on the firehouse and how awesome that was. So thank you for what you do. And obviously, if you need anything, don't hesitate to give me a call.
Will do. Thank you.
Yep. Well, you saw an action-packed legislative report. Please join me next time. And if you have any questions about what you've seen here today, contact information will be as follows. Thanks again.